Once upon a time, in a quiet village, where news traveled faster than Harmattan breeze, lived a young girl named Amarachi. She was gentle, calm, and full of light. But life around her was not gentle at all. Her stepmother, Nkem, treated her like a servant, while her own daughter, Chichi, enjoyed every comfort in the house. Every morning, Amarachi woke up before the first rooster crowed. She swept the compound, fetched firewood, washed clothes, cooked, and still received insults for things she did not do. But she kept quiet, because her late mother always told her, a calm spirit wins battles. On this particular morning, something felt different. The sky looked brighter, the wind felt softer, but the voices in the house were still harsh. Nkem shouted, "Amarachi, lazy girl, are you still sleeping? Come here before I teach you a lesson." Amarachi rushed out, tying her faded wrapper. "Mama Nkem, I am here." Nkem eyed her from head to toe, like someone watching a person she hated for no reason. Beside her, Chichi clicked her tongue and folded her arms. "Take that big clay pot," Nkem said, pointing at the heaviest one by the door. "Go to the stream and bring clean water. And don't come back until the pot is full. Do you hear me?" Amarachi nodded gently. "Yes, Mama." Chichi hissed, "And hurry, we don't have all day." What none of them knew was that destiny had already started its work. As Amarachi lifted the pot and stepped outside the compound, the morning sun touched her face. Her heart felt heavy, but she whispered a small prayer for strength. The village path to the stream was long, quiet, and lined with tall trees that danced slowly with the wind. Amarachi walked alone, listening to the birds singing in the branches. She didn't know that someone else was walking through the same forest at that exact time. Someone who was not supposed to be there. Someone important. Prince Obinna. He had left the palace earlier that morning, escaping the noise and pressure of royal life. His guards were not with him because he wanted peace. He wanted fresh air. He wanted to feel like a normal human being, even for a few hours. As Amarachi bent her head and continued walking, the prince moved closer from the opposite direction. Fate was quietly arranging their path, step by step, moment by moment. Then, just as she reached the narrow part of the road, her foot slipped on a wet stone. The heavy clay pot shook. Amarachi lost balance. And in that exact moment, a strong hand caught her. A voice, warm and deep, said, "Careful, are you all right?" Amarachi looked up, and there he was, a handsome young man with bright, kind eyes. She didn't know he was the prince. She didn't know her life was about to change forever. All she knew was that her heart skipped a beat, and her journey had just begun. Amarachi stood still, surprised by the gentle hands holding her. Her heart beat fast, not because of fear, but because something warm moved through her chest. The young man slowly helped her steady the clay pot. Prince Obinna smiled softly. "You almost fell. The road is slippery. Are you hurt?" Amarachi slowly shook her head. "No, I am fine. Thank you." She stepped back a little, shy and unsure. She was not used to kindness, especially not from strangers. But something about him felt peaceful, like a calm river after a storm. Obinna looked at her carefully. Her wrapper was old, her feet were bare, yet her face shone with natural beauty and her eyes carried a quiet strength he rarely saw in anyone. "Where are you going alone with such a heavy pot?" he asked. "To the stream. My stepmother sent me." Obinna raised a brow. "Alone? This early? Amarachi gave a small smile. I do most things alone. He noticed the sadness behind her words, but he did not push further. Instead, he offered, let me walk with you. The road is long. Amarachi instantly shook her head. No, please, I don't want to trouble you. I can walk by myself. Obinna chuckled softly. It is not trouble. I feel like walking anyway. Amarachi hesitated. No one had offered to walk with her before, not even people from her own village. But something about him felt peaceful, like a calm river after a storm. After a moment, she nodded gently. All right. They began to walk side by side. The morning breeze made the leaves dance around them. For a moment, the forest felt like a magical place. After a short silence, Obinna asked, What is your name? Amarachi, she answered quietly. He smiled. A beautiful name. It means God's grace. She nodded. My mother gave it to me. Your mother must be a good woman. Amarachi looked down. She was. She died when I was small. Obinna's smile faded. I am sorry. It is all right, she whispered. I am used to it. But Obinna could hear the pain behind her calm voice. He wanted to ask more, but he did not want to make her sad. Instead, he changed the topic. You know, you walk with courage. Amarachi looked up at him, confused. Me? Courage? Yes, he said with a light smile. Some people walk like they are running away from life, but you walk like someone who refuses to give up. Amarachi did not know what to say. No one had ever spoken to her like that, not once. As they got closer to the stream, she noticed he was still walking without showing any pride or attitude. She didn't know he was a prince. He didn't tell her. He didn't act like one. When they reached the riverbank, the water sparkled under the morning sun. Birds flew over the surface singing sweetly. Amarachi knelt down and gently placed the pot in the water. Obinna watched her with quiet admiration. She moved with grace, even in simple things. After filling her pot, she stood up and tried to lift it. It was heavy, very heavy. Before she could try again, Obinna stepped forward. Let me help you. Amarachi quickly shook her head. No, please. My stepmother will be angry if she sees a man carrying the pot for me. She will think I am lazy. Obinna frowned. But it is too heavy. She gave him a soft, sad smile. Everything in my life is heavy, but I carry it anyway. That single sentence touched Obinna deeply. He had lived in comfort all his life. Guards, servants, wealth, respect. He had everything. But this simple girl, barefoot and covered in dust, carried burdens he could not see. He felt something powerful inside him, something new. As Amarachi balanced the pot on her head, she whispered, Thank you for walking with me. You are kind. Obinna smiled. I should thank you. This morning would have been lonely without you. Their eyes met for a long moment. A moment that planted the first seed of something greater than either of them understood. Then Amarachi turned to leave, but Obinna remained rooted to the spot, watching her walk away. He felt pulled toward her, drawn, connected, and he knew he had to see her again. Amarachi walked back toward the village with the heavy pot balanced on her head. Her steps were slow but steady. The stranger's words replayed in her mind, making her heart feel strange, warm, and confused. No one had ever spoken kindly to her in a very long time. Meanwhile, Obinna remained at the stream, staring at the path she had taken. Something inside him refused to let go of the moment. He whispered to himself, Who is she, and why can't I stop thinking about her? He wanted to follow her, but after a few minutes, he remembered one thing. He had left the palace without telling anyone. His guards were probably searching the entire kingdom by now. He sighed and turned back, walking through the forest with one thought: I must see Amarachi again. Before Amarachi even stepped into the compound, she heard Nkem's voice shouting loudly, "Where is this useless girl? Does she want to spend the whole day at the stream?" Chichi laughed. Maybe she fell inside the water. Amarachi entered quietly, dust on her feet, sweat on her face, and the heavy pot still on her head. She placed it gently near the kitchen. "I have brought the water," she said. Instead of thanking her, Nkem frowned. "What took you so long? Are you the only one in this village that fetches water?" Amarachi kept quiet. She never talked back. Chichi moved close and hissed. "Lazy girls walk slowly. Next time, run." Amarachi lowered her eyes. She didn't want trouble. She wanted peace, even though peace never stayed long in that house. Nkem pointed at the ground. "Go and cook. After that, wash the clothes in the basin, and don't forget to sweep the backyard." "Yes, Mama," Amarachi replied softly. As she turned to go, Chichi whispered, "I wish you would just disappear." Amarachi felt a sting in her chest, but she didn't show it. Later that evening, Nkem and Chichi sat outside talking in low tones. Chichi said, "Mama, that prince is coming to the village festival soon. Everyone is talking about it." Nkem's eyes brightened. "Yes, and I will make sure he sees you. You must look beautiful that day." Chichi smiled proudly. "I will. I want to marry a rich man." Nkem nodded. "And Amarachi? She must stay inside. That girl is too pretty for her own good. I don't want anyone to see her." Chichi clicked her tongue. "Especially not the prince." Nkem hissed, "Over my dead body." They had no idea that destiny had already taken a different turn. They had no idea that the prince had already seen Amarachi and could not stop thinking about her. Amarachi sat outside, under the moonlight, washing the last set of clothes. Her hands were tired and her back ached, but the memory of the kind stranger kept her spirit warm. She closed her eyes and whispered, "God, who is he? And why do I feel peace around him?" Just then, a gentle breeze blew, brushing past her, like a soft touch. Amarachi smiled faintly. Inside the house, Nkem watched her from the window with jealousy burning in her eyes. "She is sitting there like a princess, but I will remind her she is nothing in this house." She closed the curtain sharply, but no amount of hatred could stop what was coming. Because at that same moment, inside the palace, Prince Obinna sat in his chamber, thinking about one thing: a girl named Amarachi. Morning came with soft sunlight spreading across the village. Birds sang on mango trees, and children ran around playing. But Amarachi woke up early as usual, ready to start another day of work. She swept the compound quietly, trying not to wake Nkem. She washed the plates, fetched firewood, and prepared breakfast. By the time she finished, sweat covered her face, but she remained calm. As she worked, she didn't know that someone far away was waking up with her name in his heart: Prince Obinna. Obinna sat on the edge of his bed, staring into space. He hadn't slept well. Amarachi's voice kept echoing in his mind, her smile, her strength, the sadness in her eyes, and the way she said, "Everything in my life is heavy, but I carry it anyway." He couldn't forget it. Jidena, his closest guard and friend, walked in with a worried face. "My prince, you disappeared yesterday. The king and queen were very worried. Where did you go?" Obinna sighed. "I just needed air." Jidena raised a brow. "Air, or something else?" Obinna looked at him. "Jidena,
Have you ever met someone who felt familiar even when you just saw them once? Familiar? Maybe you hit your head in the forest. Obinna didn't laugh. He stood and walked toward the balcony. The village lay beyond the hills, peaceful and far away. There is a girl, Obinna said quietly. Her name is Amarachi. Jidena's eyes widened. A girl? So that is where you went? Obinna nodded. I met her at the stream. She's different. Jidena folded his arms, dramatic. My prince, love can make a man forget his name. Obinna smiled faintly. I don't know if it is love yet, but I must see her again. Jidena looked worried. But you are the prince. You can't just walk around the village alone. Obinna turned to him. His eyes were serious. Then you will walk with me. Amarachi had just finished sweeping when Nkem stormed out of the house. You, fetch water again. The one you brought yesterday is not enough. Amarachi blinked. But Mama, the pot is still full. Before she could finish, Nkem slapped her hard. Do not question me. Chichi walked out proudly. Mama, let her fetch 20 pots if she likes. It is her duty. Amarachi rubbed her cheek gently and lowered her head. I will go. She lifted the clay pot again, her arms already tired. As she began the lonely walk to the stream, her heart prayed silently. God, let today be peaceful. She didn't know her prayer was about to be answered in a surprising way. The morning light reflected on the calm water. Amarachi knelt beside the river, letting the cool breeze touch her face. For a moment, she felt free. Then, she heard footsteps. She froze. Someone was coming. She looked up slowly, and her heart stopped for a moment. It was him, the stranger from yesterday. But today he wasn't alone. Jidena walked beside him, scanning the forest like a guard. Obinna's eyes lit up the moment he saw her. Amarachi, he said softly, almost like he was relieved. Amarachi stood up quickly, confused and shy. You came back. Obinna nodded and had to. I had to. I wanted to see you again. Her heart beat too fast. She didn't know what to say. No one had ever wanted to see her before. Not out of kindness, not out of interest, not out of anything good. Obinna stepped forward carefully. I hope I'm not disturbing you. No. Amarachi whispered softly. I just didn't expect. Jidena watched the two of them and shook his head slightly. This was no ordinary interest. Something deeper was growing. Obinna smiled faintly. Let me help you with the pot today. Amarachi shook her head quickly. No, please, my stepmother. Your stepmother doesn't have to know, Obinna said gently. Jidena coughed loudly. My prince. Obinna raised a hand to silence him. Amarachi gasped softly. Prince. She looked at Obinna again, noticing the fine clothing, the confident posture, the quiet authority. You are the prince, she whispered shocked. Obinna nodded slowly. I am. And I came to see you. Amarachi stepped back in fear. My prince, please forgive me. I did not know. If I had known, I would not. Stop, Obinna said softly. I did not come for your fear. I came for your presence. Her heart trembled. You are not like others. You carry pain, but you still smile. You suffer, but you don't complain. Amarachi felt tears in her eyes, but she looked down to hide them. Obinna took one step closer. If you will allow me, I want to know you better. Amarachi couldn't speak. Her lips trembled. Her hands shook. No prince had ever spoken to her like this. No man had ever spoken to her like this. She finally whispered, "Why me?" Obinna smiled softly. "Because destiny does not make mistakes."
The river flowed quietly behind them. The wind was soft and warm. For the first time in a very long time, Amarachi felt seen, truly seen. But even though her heart warmed, her mind remained worried. She stepped back gently. "My prince, I don't understand. I am only Amarachi. I am not special." Obinna shook his head. "You are special to me. From the moment I saw you, something in my heart changed." Jidenna watched the scene, confused and amazed. "My prince, are you sure this is a good idea?" Obinna didn't even blink. "I know what I feel." Amarachi looked at the prince again, unsure whether to smile or run. She was afraid of her stepmother, afraid of village gossip, afraid of being hurt. But Obinna's voice was calm and honest. "I want to know you," he said, "not as a prince, but as a man. Can I sit with you for a few minutes?" She hesitated. No one had ever asked for her time before. Slowly, she nodded. The prince smiled and sat on a smooth rock under a tree. Amarachi sat a little distance away, shy and nervous. Jidenna stood watch, arms folded, making sure no one approached. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Obinna spoke. "Tell me about you, Amarachi. What do you dream of?" Her eyes widened. "Dream?" "Yes," he said gently. "What do you hope for? What do you wish could happen in your life?" Amarachi swallowed hard. No one had ever asked her this question. No one cared enough to ask. She looked at the water and whispered, "I dream of peace. I dream of a home where I am not insulted, where I am not beaten, where I am loved." Obinna's heart tightened. "You deserve that and more." She shook her head. "People like me don't get such things." "Why do you say that?" he asked. Amarachi looked at her hands. "Because I am poor. Because I am the unwanted one. My stepmother reminds me every day that I don't matter." Obinna leaned forward, his voice deep and soft. "You matter, Amarachi. You matter more than you know." She felt tears burn her eyes again, but she blinked fast. He continued, "I have lived my whole life with comfort, but all the comfort in the world means nothing if my heart feels empty. Yesterday, when I met you, that emptiness disappeared." She looked at him, shocked. "My prince, you speak like you know me." "Maybe I do. Maybe I see what others refuse to see." Amarachi felt her chest tighten with a strange mixture of fear and hope. She didn't know what to believe. Everything felt like a dream. "What about your family?" she asked softly. "What if they don't like me?" Obinna shook his head. "I will handle that. I only want to know you first. Give me the chance." She lowered her eyes. "People will talk. Let them talk. Their words cannot stop destiny." His courage made her heart tremble. She wanted to trust him. She wanted to believe him. But her life had taught her to expect disappointment. She whispered, "I don't want trouble." Obinna smiled gently. "Then I will protect you from trouble." Suddenly, a branch cracked behind them. Jidenna turned sharply.
My prince, someone is coming. Amarachi stood quickly, fear rushing through her. If my stepmother sees me with you, she will beat me. Please, I must go. Obinna rose to his feet, his face serious. Amarachi, wait. When can I see you again? Amarachi looked around nervously, the clay pot already in her hands. I don't know, she whispered. He stepped closer. Tomorrow, same time, same place? She hesitated, breathing fast. Then she gave a tiny nod. Obinna smiled with relief. Thank you, he said softly. Amarachi slowly lifted the heavy pot onto her head. She turned to leave, her voice shaking. My prince. Yes, he asked. Please don't tell anyone you saw me. Obinna nodded slowly. I won't, but I will be here tomorrow. Amarachi walked away quickly, disappearing into the trees. Obinna watched her until she was gone. Jidena stepped closer. My prince, this girl has touched your heart. Obinna nodded, still staring at the forest path. Yes, and I will not let anything happen to her. What none of them knew was that trouble was already waiting in the village, watching, listening, and preparing. The next morning, Amarachi woke before the sun. Her body ached from the work she had done the previous day, but her heart thumped with anticipation. Today, she might see the prince again. She quietly carried the heavy clay pot, careful not to wake Nkem or Chichi. The village was still asleep. Birds chirped softly, and the wind rustled the leaves. As she approached the path to the stream, her excitement mingled with fear. She thought of what might happen if anyone saw her. What if her stepmother discovered she had met the prince? What if Chichi learned? Trouble always followed her like a shadow. Meanwhile, Nkem and Chichi were already awake, planning mischief. Chichi said, Mama, that girl will ruin everything. What if the prince comes looking for her? What if he notices her more than me? Nkem shook her head. I will not let that happen. She will stay inside today. We will find a reason. Maybe she will fall in the mud and everyone will laugh at her. Chichi laughed cruelly. Yes, that will teach her a lesson. Little did they know, destiny had already chosen Amarachi's path. Obinna was already at the stream before Amarachi arrived. He had come early, hoping to see her alone, away from the world that could never understand her. Jidena followed, careful to stay hidden, watching the forest for any danger. When Amarachi appeared at the river bank, her hair tied neatly, face glowing in the soft morning light, Obinna's heart skipped a beat. Amarachi, he whispered softly. She froze, blushing. Prince, I came. Obinna stepped forward gently. You did, and I am glad you came. Jidena watched quietly. She is not like the other girls. There is something special about her. Obinna nodded. Yes, she carries her struggles with grace. She is brave and kind. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out from behind the trees. Amarachi, why are you going so early? Amarachi turned quickly. It was Nkem, scowling, with Chichi beside her, smiling cruelly. Obinna stepped in front of her. Who are you? He asked firmly. I am her stepmother, and she is mine to command. Chichi laughed. You think you can meet a prince without telling us? Foolish girl. Amarachi's hand shook. Mama, please, it's not what you think. Nkem pointed angrily. Get back home this instant. You are bringing shame. Obinna frowned, his eyes cold. Leave her alone. Nkem gasped. Who are you to order me? Obinna stepped closer, calm but powerful. I am Prince Obinna, and she is under my protection. Amarachi's jaw dropped. Prince? Chichi's smile disappeared. Nkem's face turned red with fury. You dare? Nkem shouted. Obinna looked at her steadily. I dare, because she is not like anyone else. She deserves respect. Amarachi felt a wave of relief. Someone, for the first time, was standing up for her. Obinna turned to Amarachi. Come, let's finish filling your pot together. You don't have to do this alone. Amarachi hesitated, then nodded. Slowly, she walked toward the water with him by her side. Jidena whispered softly, My prince, this girl will change everything. Obinna smiled, gently helping her balance the clay pot. Amarachi looked at him, a shy smile breaking on her face. In that moment, Amarachi realized something powerful. Kindness, courage, and love could overcome fear, even in the face of cruelty. Nkem and Chichi watched from the distance, powerless. For the first time, they understood that wealth, pride, and anger could not stop what was meant to happen. The prince had found Amarachi, and nothing could undo it. The village was buzzing with excitement. Everyone had heard that Prince Obinna would visit the festival soon, but Amarachi's life at home remained the same. Her stepmother, Nkem, and Chichi continued to make her chores endless and her days long. That morning, Amarachi walked to the stream quietly, carrying the heavy clay pot, hoping to meet the prince again. Her heart raced with both fear and hope. When she arrived, Obinna was already there, waiting. Amarachi, he said softly, his voice warm, I hoped you would come. She blushed, lowering her eyes. I came, as you asked. Obinna smiled. You are brave. I admire that. For a moment, silence filled the air, peaceful and comforting. After a few minutes, Obinna took a deep breath. Amarachi, I have made a decision. I cannot ignore my feelings anymore. I want you to be part of my life. Amarachi's eyes widened. My prince, I am just a poor girl. I cannot... He didn't need to worry about that, Obinna said gently. I see your heart, your strength, your beauty. That is enough for me. I want to know you, to care for you, and to make sure no one ever hurts you again. Tears filled Amarachi's eyes. She had never heard words like this, not from anyone, not even her late mother's friends. Obinna continued, I will speak to my family. They will understand. And if anyone tries to stop us, I will not allow it. Amarachi, I love you. Amarachi could not believe her ears. She felt happiness, fear, and hope all at once. Her heart beat faster than it ever had before. Back at home, Nkem and Chichi were preparing for the festival. Nkem had heard rumors that the prince had seen Amarachi at the stream. Her face darkened with jealousy and rage. How dare that girl meet the prince? She is nothing. We must ruin her chance. Chichi nodded. Yes, she cannot have what is not hers. Little did they know, the prince's decision had already been made. Amarachi's courage, kindness, and patience had earned him completely. Obinna returned to the palace and immediately spoke with Jidena. She is special. We cannot let anyone harm her. Prepare everything. I will visit the village officially and no one will interfere. Jidena nodded. Yes, my prince. No one will touch her. Obinna smiled, thinking about Amarachi working so hard every day, carrying heavy water pots, living under the harshness of her stepmother. He could not wait to lift her into a life of love and respect. The next morning, Amarachi stood by the stream thinking of what had happened. She had never felt so hopeful. She whispered softly to herself, Maybe life will be different now. Maybe I will finally find happiness. At that exact moment, a shadow fell across her path. She looked up. Obinna stood there, smiling warmly. Amarachi, are you ready? She nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. Yes, I am ready. Obinna extended his hand. Then let us face whatever comes, together. Amarachi took his hand, feeling strength and love fill her. For the first time in her life, she felt protected, valued and seen. Even Nkem and Chichi could no longer control her destiny. The prince had made his choice, and Amarachi's life was about to change forever.
The village was alive with excitement. The festival had begun, with colorful decorations, drums beating, and children laughing. Everyone talked about the prince coming to see the villagers. Amarachi's heart raced. She was no longer afraid. She walked with confidence, carrying herself like someone who had finally found her place in the world. When she reached the festival square, she saw Obinna waiting. His smile lit up the space around him, and the crowd seemed to fade away. Amarachi, he called softly. She ran toward him, tears of happiness streaming down her cheeks. Prince Obinna! He took her hands in his, looking into her eyes. You are mine, Amarachi, and I will never let anyone harm you again. Nkem and Chichi had come to the festival, hoping to see the prince notice Chichi instead. But when they saw Amarachi standing beside Obinna, glowing with happiness, they froze. Nkem shouted in anger, but her voice carried no power. The prince's decision had made it clear Amarachi's life was no longer under their control. Chichi's smile disappeared, replaced with shock. She could not compete with Amarachi's courage, kindness, and the love she had won. Obinna stood tall. Amarachi's past will no longer define her. Her heart, strength, and grace define her, and that is what I honor. Nkem and Chichi had nothing to say. They had lost, not because of wealth or power, but because Amarachi had stayed true to herself. The prince led Amarachi to the center of the festival. People cheered as they saw the girl who had endured so much finally receive the life she deserved. Obinna whispered, "You are stronger than anyone I know, and I am proud to stand by you." Amarachi smiled, tears of joy in her eyes. "Thank you for seeing me when no one else did." They walked hand in hand, the crowd cheering, the sun shining, and the wind carrying the scent of flowers. For Amarachi, the world was finally full of hope, love, and happiness. The moral lesson. And so, Amarachi's story teaches us something powerful. Kindness, courage, and patience always triumph over cruelty and envy. True love and destiny cannot be stopped by wealth, pride, or malice. No matter how difficult life may seem, staying true to yourself will bring the reward meant for you. Amarachi's life had changed not because she fought with anger, but because she stayed calm, strong, and kind. And in the end, destiny rewarded her with love, respect, and happiness. The end. Your support means everything. Hit like, drop a comment, share, and subscribe to Limitless Tales with Peace for more amazing stories.